Hey, this is Gecko Mayhem. This is another Godforge video. First of all, beta update. What can we look forward to in beta? The game is tracking very nicely. Early story mode missions are in, as are progress missions. So the whole mission system of fulfilling quests, of following along and achieving something and doing what the game is leading you along to do, those are all in. The Gold Bazaar. This is a part of the Bazaar, which is the in-game account shop. Not the real money shop, but where you spend resources that you build up in the game. The Gold Bazaar is where you spend, surprise, surprise, the gold that you make from playing the game. You can buy items in the Gold Bazaar using gold. You can also get randomized rewards like a chest. You don't know what's going to be in that chest, but you can spend your gold. You can buy that chest and you can roll the dice and see if you get a good item. Visually, the game is starting to look a lot better. They have worked on the lighting, they have worked on animations, they have worked on all sorts of things to make the game have more polish. It's tracking really well. The tech update, yes, the tech update that they mentioned where they have shifted to another provider, the whole back end has been shifted over. They're keeping an eye on that. They will be able to get a lot more players into the game because they have changed the back end of the game to allow for growth. So this is looking really good, and they've continued to work on bug reports and bug fixes. Of course, there is a priority system for bugs, and in beta this is going to be the same as well. When we get into beta and we report bugs, there is a priority system where there are critical bugs that take precedence. They will check those first, and then all the way down to the most minor of bugs where it's a minor inconvenience or it's a typo or something like that that is not game breaking, so to speak. Camera update. So they've been updating the cameras on and off. Simon says that the camera update is looking really good. So there are 3 different camera angles, as we well know from alpha, but these have been improved. So we'll just wait and see how that looks in beta. Portraits. This is great. The portraits have been updated. They are looking really good. I like what they've done. If there's a visual change to something, you look at what it was before and you go, yeah, that doesn't look nearly as good as it does now. But when you didn't know about the now and you were looking at the before, you thought that it was fantastic. So the portraits were looking so good. I did not know they could get better. They look a lot better. The portraits are looking fantastic. There have been other things like facial animation updates, so the eyes have a bit of movement and expression. It gives the faces of the heroes a bit more expression there. On mobile, it's probably going to be very hard to see, but for those playing on PC, especially full screen, it will make a huge difference. Of course, we know that on PC there is a much higher polygon count, so they haven't necessarily said, hey, we're going to have 15 times as many polygons for the PC version. However, it's been intimated that they are going to have more polygons in the heroes and everything like that, so that we will have higher quality for the PC port of the game. It is designed to be played on mobile, on a small screen or on a tablet, but when we play it on PC, I think we'll notice the difference. There will be a good frame rate and there will be a higher polygon count. I think that's just going to be the case. So the animations, facial expressions, VFX, I assume skills and abilities and ultimates and everything. Potentially the VFX have been updated on that. It's looking a lot better. On to the change to the ultimate system. The ultimate system still works very well. It's still a fantastic idea. They are running with it. They have from very early on. It's really cool, really good to see. It is an interesting take on this genre to have something like the ultimate system where you've built your divinity to the 100% point, you release your ultimate when you want, so an ultimate is going to still be available at any time so long as you have a full divinity meter on that hero. It's been changed though, so they wanted it to be easier to understand when an ultimate will be ready. Now the initiative stat is called Faith. And there are a few small tweaks and so on within this change. So, Faith increases divinity generation. It has replaced initiative. The description of Faith is, Faith increases the amount of divinity generated by your hero in battle, which is required to use your ultimate. Very clear, right? It increases divinity, you need divinity to do your ultimate. More Faith will make your ultimate happen more frequently. Makes sense. Higher Faith, faster divinity gain, sooner ultimate. Simon did say that the divinity generators were not working out well. Of course, we know that different heroes had different divinity generators. This was another way to get divinity. So a number of defense heroes, when hit, would gain an extra little boost or burst of divinity. to their divinity meter. Other ones like Slayers, when they went into attack, would increase their divinity through their divinity generator. It would give a small amount of divinity boost. What's happening now is they've removed the divinity generators because they weren't creating a fun experience. Instead, faith will dictate divinity gain, as we've said. It increases when a hero takes a turn, so it's tick based, a lot like speed. Any hero, so if an enemy takes a turn or if one of your party members takes a turn, everybody's divinity will increase according to their faith number. A small amount also increases from hitting. This is kind of interesting because it sounds like they have just baked in the divinity generators to every hero, because of going in and doing a hit will increase according to a percentage of your faith number. You will also gain divinity. Instead of dividing it out into different types of divinity generators, it sounds like they've taken the divinity generator that increases your divinity by hitting and rolled that in. It's the one divinity generator. It sounds like it's been rolled into every hero, basically. Unfortunately, I think this means you're going to have to really think things through, because some heroes actually have abilities that don't attack the enemy. There are heroes who basically just place buffs on their team. Without divinity generators, it is going to change how much divinity things like certain invokers are going to build divinity when they're not going in and hitting the enemy. Fateless's ethos is still for faith to compete with speed, as we know. Ultimates versus turns taken. So speed is still a very good stat, you get more turns, but we know that they've been pushing the whole ultimate thing as an alternative, or as something that supports heroes a lot more and supports your gameplay. Weapons and abilities will still be able to push divinity, so that's something that you will have a bit of control over. They are looking for a lot of feedback on the entire ultimate system, so part of the beta is not just reporting bugs on overall gameplay, campaign, and working through the stages and trying to clear content and getting heroes and testing out those heroes. Part of that is feedback on the ultimate and this change that they have made. Okay, let's look at what this actually means. First of all, it's fewer levers for the devs to pull to adjust divinity gain. Without divinity generators having just this faith stat, they are able to adjust the required divinity for an ultimate. They're able to adjust the initial divinity, which, by the way, Simon pointed out is bugged. There is no initial divinity gain at the start of a battle, which heroes are supposed to have if they have that initial divinity in the description of their ultimate. So fewer levers for the devs to pull. It means that they can help to adjust when a hero is going to get their ultimate a lot more cleanly, I guess. It makes it more predictable for divinity climb, so you can predict when a hero is going to hit their ultimate within a battle. You can much more cleanly predict that. You can better control when an ult will be ready, therefore. Another thing this means is that any reference to initiative will need to be updated. Things like leader bonuses, which we know a number of heroes have, such as Izanagi. Buffs and debuffs, which reference initiative. So we've got the initiative up buff, we've got the initiative down buff. Those will need to be changed to faith up and faith down. And any skills that reference initiative. One hero comes to mind here, Pangu. If you are familiar with Pangu's kit, or if you're not, I'll put it on the screen. So Pangu has this whole balance thing going on, this yin-yang thing, where if he has higher speed, he does this with initiative, or if he has higher initiative, he does this with speed. So he has this whole balance thing where his speed and his initiative change. That's going to have to be changed to faith and speed, isn't it? So Pangu's going to need a combing through of his skill set to make sure that it sits right because of this change from initiative to faith. And there are other heroes, of course, who have this manipulation with initiative in some way, not to the degree that Pangu does of the whole speed, initiative, or now speed, faith, right? Yeah, divinity manipulation via weapons abilities could still make ultimates hard to predict or control. And what comes to mind here is, for example, in a recent collaboration that I did with Dan Manreal, we talked about the 33 heroes that now have their kits in place. One of these was Shkik. She is a very cool Ameokan epic, and she has this whole divinity manipulation thing. Another one that comes to mind is Odin, who has divinity manipulation, and as a hero that manipulates the divinity of the enemy team, I'm wondering now, with this change to the faith stat and the removal of divinity generators, how that's actually going to impact on divinity manipulation as a whole between heroes and enemies. Of course, being able to predict your ultimate could still be very difficult because of divinity manipulation. Now, divinity hasn't changed, it's just the initiative stat and the removal of divinity generators, but we're still going to see trying to get your ultimate to pay off at certain points in a fight, and if you have a lot of control over which weapon you have, which abilities you have within your own party, and what your faith level is, there will be a lot of theory crafting around this and figuring out how you can predict, or more cleanly predict, when a specific hero's ultimate is going to be ready within a specific battle. And that's such a cool part of the game. Not just the fact that you're doing this trade-off between speed and divinity, or sorry, speed and faith, and therefore divinity gain and use of ultimates, so go faster or use more ultimates. There's the whole theory crafting mechanics around, well, divinity manipulation or limiting ultimates, even lock ultimate as a very rare debuff. But the whole thinking around, maybe I can predict my ultimate because I know what my divinity gain is going to be, because I know what my faith stat is, and I know how much I am able to manipulate divinity through the skills of the heroes that are part of my party. But it's also going to be fairly difficult to predict in places whether you are going to get your ultimate by a certain point within a battle, because it depends on the makeup of the enemies and how much they're manipulating you, whether you're resisting, whether you're not resisting, things like that. It's very complicated and it makes it fantastic. In conclusion, beta is going to be a fantastic opportunity for us to not only experience the game finally with all of its VFX updates, model updates, everything like this, testing things out, pushing things to their limit. It's going to be a great way for us to provide feedback for what works, what doesn't work, what feels fun, what feels like a chore, what is great and just chugging along and smooth, and how hard is it to get these 3-star achievements throughout the campaign versus what's a struggle, where are the bottlenecks, what's hard, what am I struggling with, which heroes do I have, which heroes do I not have, things like that. Looking forward to beta. I hope that you're happy about the change with initiative, the way that ultimates are working now. I hope that you like this video, and I hope that you have a nice day. I'll see you on the next one.